just another day of work. And I got to the third or fourth joist, and it was sticking up above the rim joist a little. So I was just going to drive a nail at an angle, and I had my thumb on the trigger, and I shot and it bounced. And when I came back down, I hit myself in the chest with it and went off again. When I looked at my T-shirt, you know, I pulled it up, and I could see that there's a hole in the T-shirt and a little bit of blood. Very shortness of breath. I held my chest, and I walked over. My truck was just around the corner, and grabbed my cell phone and called my wife.
The phone rang. I thought, I'm going to leave it.
I said, pick up the phone, pick up the phone. I shot myself in the chest with a nail gun. You need to get me to emergency as soon as possible.
And as she's running out the door, she tells us what happened. So I jumped in the Buick with them.
And I got in and I laid the seat back, and I told Carmen just to drive, as I figured time was of the essence. When I'd breathe in the car, I could feel it kind of crunch and gurgle. I tried to belly breathe so it was easier to breathe.
I just put my hands on my dad's shoulder because I was sitting right behind him, and I just prayed that he'd stay with us.
And at one point I did get kind of panicky, and he said, you're going to be fine. And
one gentleman said, so you mean you shot a nail and ricocheted and hit you in the chest? I said, no, I shot myself in the chest. I have a nail in my chest.
I got all the kids and we jumped in the van, and I was going like 85 miles an hour. We all started like freaking out. We just started praying,
thinking that he could die and praying that he wouldn't, just in prayer and crying.
This is really bad. He's gonna die, and we're not gonna have a dad.
So I was just like staying calm.
And met Mom at the hospital, and everybody was crying, and we were all pretty scared.
We were talking, and Naomi was calling all the cousins and family and telling them what happened. And
Called people to get prayer chains going, and
got to the emergency room. We got to see him before.
Well, Waconia's kind of a small hospital, so they said, well, we'll have to send you to HCMC. So they have a trauma center there, so we had to they loaded me in the ambulance from Waconia, and all the kids, all my 7 kids were there, and they said goodbye. And Laura, my daughter, rode in the ambulance with me.
You know, I was in the front seat. I kept looking back to make sure like he was still like moving or talking.
And we all stood around Eugene, and the 7 kids, my brother Harry, Brenda, and prayed with him because he was going to be sent off to surgery.
saying that I still need him and pray that you would just save his life.
A nurse came in and said, we have bad news. And we're thinking, what's the bad news? And she says, we got to send him to Abbott.
I'm trying to keep it light and joke with them a little bit. And so I thought, man, this may be more serious than I thought. You know? But I didn't let it change my spirits.
There is hope for me, yeah, because God won't forget all the plans He's made for me. I have to wait and see.
Told me that they're gonna rip open him and then just cut open him and then pull the nail up and stitch him back together.
When we saw Dr. Lewis, he said, you guys had no idea how serious this was. He drew kind of an illustration as to where, you know, the nail was and how close it came to killing him.
Yeah.
Right away started to call people and praising God. And I think that God worked in that all the timing was just right. It's very rare that all 7 of the kids are ever home at the same time.
Like, I've got nothing, God, so just do something, alright? Like, I don't know what to say. But, like, looking back, you know, God was with, you know, you the entire time.
This is a story of hope, and that's why it's interesting, because people want to hear more stories like that. Because he came just that close to dying. What God says in the Bible, He does. He's faithful. He will take care of us. He's going to take care of us, and I'm not going to worry.
Give God the glory. Not say, hey, yay, we got a miracle. Say, yay, thank you, God, for giving us. This is a nail that I shot myself in the chest with. It can remind me of how the Lord saved me and gave me some more time. And the kids can be reminded that, hey, we can get to spend more time with our dad and the miracles the Lord provides for us all.